The US president is struggling very hard to recover his Christian evangelical voters back home because they manipulated the decision of the evangelical voters to support Netanyahu's genocide against people in Gaza. And eventually, the evangelicals became so angry that they were not known, that they were deceived into supporting an open genocide against innocent children. And that is why they are technically somehow withdrawing silently their support for the MAGA movement. So the only way the MAGA movement can show its support for the Christian crusade globally is to target places where they can now name a Christian operations. And that is why they did that on the Christmas day. You know what happened during the banger, right? On the 25th, on the night of the 25th day of Christmas, when you now be throwing out knockout and bangers all over the street. So that is exactly what the US president did for his evangelical supporters at home in the US. So it's largely for the benefit of his people at home than on the benefit of Nigerians. However, it has some positive outcomes in Nigeria because so far what is reported on the media is about the attack in Jabo village at Tambuwa local government. That wasn't the only place where they struck. They actually struck Alwariye village in Tangaza local government and Al-Qasim village in Tangaza local government. And these are credible Lakurawa hideout. So the chances that they hit and destroy these Lakurawa terrorists is also very, very high. This is also a positive development for Nigeria. So however you want to look at it, do not sensationalize it. Do not put this as a religion. Just look at the net win. While Trump is winning his political support base at home, we have also won some significant progress in terms of eliminating some terrorists here at home. So we should take the side of the victory, not the side of pessimism. However, this does not stop the fact that this is the first in the history of Nigeria. That since the 1960s, there was never any foreign military attack on our soil except this time. So it is very important that our government work hard to stop any military operation that is going to extend beyond attacking a common enemy, which is the terrorists. We have to establish a clear boundary, a clear framework, and a clear operational procedure that will limit all these attacks towards the terrorists. Also, the collaboration with the Nigerian government is good, but that will not change the plan of the US. If, let's assume that the Nigerian government refuse to allow them to do the strike, do you think they will stop not doing the strike? They will do that because they already have responsibility to protect as enshrined in the United Nations Global Convention on Terrorism. So they can still be able to carry out their strike. But it is very important that there is a collaboration with Nigeria. That is one of the good things that we have recommended from the beginning. That the US will do the strike regardless whether Nigeria wants it or not. But it pays Nigeria to collaborate with them so that you can direct them towards a critical area of operations where it will have impact. And I believe that is what the Nigerian government did by routing them towards the critical target of Lakurawas, and they hit the Lakurawa target in the area of Alwariye village and Al-Qasim village in Tangaza local government, in addition to the attack that fell on the farmland in Jabo village at Tambuwa local government. So the attack could be symbolic for the US, but it has some positive outcomes for Nigeria. So therefore, let's look into the positive side and then also stop worrying about the pessimism. A terror is a terror, and terror should not be allowed to thrive in a country where we need peace, prosperity, and progress. Happy Boxing Day. Thank you.
Of American bombs falling over Nigerian territory. It will be discussed not only in Nigeria but all over Africa. People will be discussing the implications. every peace-loving Nigerian, and that is most of us, would like to see the terrorists and the bandits and the insurgents and all the other criminals wiped out. And since around 2009, with the beginning of the Boko Haram crisis, we had been appealing to the Western powers and the other international powers for help in order to defeat this problem. And they had been resisting, giving all kinds of reasons about human rights and all that. But in the last 2 months or so, President Donald Trump in particular had been threatening to carry out these attacks, which he has finally done. And there are several issues around that, beginning with the sovereignty issue. But of course, the Nigerian government has said that it cooperated. Okay, so at least that partially addresses the issue of sovereignty. But then there are other issues, like the choice of targets was also curious, because if you say the attack was directed at ISIS, one would have thought that the part where the bombs dropped, southeastern Sokoto state, is the relatively safe part of Sokoto state, and that in Sokoto state too, it is the northeastern part adjoining Zamfara state where the bandits and terrorists are most active, right into Zamfara state and the western part of Kebbi state. And also, it is in the northeast specifically that we have the ISWAP, which is openly paying allegiance to ISIS, as well as the Boko Haram. Boko Haram does not pay allegiance to ISIS, but they have the same modus operandi, and they are the worst of the terrorist groups that we have, because if you remember, only 2 days ago on Wednesday evening, Boko Haram exploded a bomb in a crowded mosque after prayers in Maiduguri, and they killed several people and injured dozens of others. So one would have thought that if the Nigerian government assisted in the choice of targets, they should have directed it towards the deadliest of the terrorist groups, which is around Sambisa Forest and the Mandara Mountains adjoining Cameroon and Chad, and also the Lake Chad, small islets in the Lake Chad basin, which is exactly where ISWAP is located. But of course, the bandits and the terrorists in the northwest are also very deadly, and they also ransack villages, abduct people, kill, and everything. So they are also legitimate targets, probably, although they shouldn't be the most important targets. Then there are other questions. For example, you know, President Donald Trump, his messaging complicates matters. The Trump administration is not exactly famous for helping communities. It even creates problems where problems do not exist. Like in South Africa, you say that there is genocide against white South Africans and you want to save them. That kind of messaging creates problems even where it does not exist. Okay, while the U.S. Defense Department is saying that this attack is targeted at ISIS, President Trump himself posted on social media that he is protecting Christians in Nigeria, a view that the Nigerian government has tried very strenuously to debunk, so that he does not create or rather compound our religious problems here in Nigeria.
So it should not become sovereignty crisis, meaning the country, it don't pass the control of the president. That's why you find out that when a president give an order, when Tinubu give an order, people, so set of people go come out, then they challenge her one-on-one. The attacker say, no, this thing where you talk nothing work. Now why is he say, America, not just wake up one day, decide to say, okay, they won't come strike for Nigeria. No, Nigeria don't feel be like every other African country like Somalia, like Sudan. Make those Westerners as big as America wait to see say they are treasure, that they destroy them. Every mineral is everything you think of that exists in any part of the world is in Africa. Anything you think of that make human being to become human being, to make a nation to become a nation, you find it in Africa's soil. Not to talk of Nigeria, which is the giant of the Africa. If terrorists should take over Nigeria, that means the whole world is finished. The whole world is finished if terrorists can take control of Nigeria soil. So Tinubu declaring these people, this bandit, a terrorist. Do you think it's easy? He has stepped on high and mighty of this country. The people that hold the power of this country, that evil president, the past presidents are afraid of them. Those are the kind of caliber of people that Tinubu has stepped into them. See, let me tell you, before Tinubu take this decision, power not their hand again. May I just tell you the truth? They don't take over everything. And if Tinubu not declare these people as terrorists, there's no way America can come in. If they will threaten her with this second tenor, planning to remove him, he ready spoil everything, make everything open, make everybody be on the run. Because Nigeria now is not as business as usual as we think. No. So we should be calculative and be smart enough to know the kind of message these people want to pass to us. I don't want to mention name, but there are some group of people that want to turn the narrative of this attack. There are a group of people that is already fighting him for turning this bandit to terrorists. So more people will come to attack the president, but we will stand to fight. We will stand to change their narrative to what they are bringing to us. This is how they use us against good luck. If we have knew what is coming before us, we shouldn't have entered that trap. But because in Nigeria, we dey look one way, that make us enter. But this time, we did the back of Jagaban on this mission for this terrorist declaration. Anybody who won't fight president for this terrorist declaration, now you won't fight. Because if insecurity problem fit solve for this country, everything are less. Do you know what you are passing through because of this terrorist act? People can no longer go to farm. Farmers will go to farm. They'll destroy their property, cow away their property, everything. When all those things start, if it is no wickedness, we don't get cow for Nigeria before. 20 years, 25 years back, when cow called the other people bush because of power control. When you talk, they come and clear the village. So somebody don't come out now to attack one. Una one attacker. Now they break. You see this fight, we will join the president to fight this matter. Anyhow, now what I will do it. A word is enough for the wise.
And I ask because, there are some people off and on social media who are genuinely ignorant of why Sokoto State was targeted. I mean, you hear them say, we know about Zamfara, we know about Kebbi, we know about Katsina, but why Sokoto State?
These are very ignorant people talking, and if you want to learn, you want to run away from the ignorant. First and foremost, the US and Nigeria working together reserve the right to launch attacks anywhere. Whether it's Sokoto, whether it's Zamfara, whether it's anywhere. Today in Sokoto State, many states, many local governments are full of bandits. Sabombrini, Rabah, Tangaza, Tambuwal, Isa, Tureta. These are all local governments where you have a huge presence of bandits. Remember the killing of a district head, the district of Gobirawa. Was it not in Sokoto that it happened? In Sokoto, we have a considerable presence of Nigerian bandits. Even Bello Truji is very active in Sokoto. He has cells in Sokoto State. Lakurawa, they are very active in some local governments in Sokoto and very active as well in Kebbi State. There are some elements of ISIS that are present in Sokoto State as we speak. And because Sokoto shares a border with Niger State, Niger Republic, these people move in and out, and are difficult to track. The American who was kidnapped some years ago and had to be rescued by U.S. forces with support provided by Nigerian troops was taken to Sokoto. It was in Sokoto that that rescue mission was executed. So who told them that there are not many bandits in Sokoto? Who told them that Sokoto is not qualified to be bombed? Who told them? How did they know that, oh, Zamfara? Yes, a lot of stories of banditry. Yes, Zamfara is the epicenter of banditry. But they reserve the rights to begin where they think is the best place to begin. In fact, that is the right strategy, because Zamfara will have expected that, okay, they will be attacked first. Many of us actually thought that the ISIS camps in the Tumbus of Borno State will actually be the first place they will go, because they actually conducted some reconnaissance work in Borno State. But those who are familiar with the military know that the military always like to catch everyone by surprise. So while they conducted a lot of reconnaissance, they did a lot of reconnaissance work in Borno State, they didn't start the bombing in Borno State. It is a question of strategy. It is a question of what you think is right. Catching the enemy by surprise. So what is their business where the attack was launched? And I've also heard some people say, oh, why didn't, this is a Muslim-dominated area, where did they start from there? Again, absolute rubbish.
You hear a lot.
When you start from there, you are trying to save the lives of innocent Muslims who are the biggest victims of banditry in the far north of our country. And we have said, look, de-emphasize religion.
Okay.
People are being killed in different parts of our country, whether they are Muslim or they are Christian. All we want is let our people be better protected. I mean, the U.S. is prepared to offer help to us to protect our people better. We do not care where they launch the first attack. We do not care the ethnicity or the religious makeup of the people in that area. Once you go for terrorists and bandits in a location, the people living around that area are the greatest beneficiaries of that effort. So,
welcome back to the channel. So, the outrage is coming from some northerners over the US airstrike in Sokoto reeks of selective anger and deep hypocrisy. Now, the same region that has endured terrorism, banditry, and mass killings for over a decade is suddenly acting shocked because a foreign power struck targets on its soil. They're asking why Sokoto, why Sokoto? It's just like they're sounding so emotional, but it ignores years of silence and denial about insecurity spreading across the north. Now, for years, the insurgents, bandits, and extremist groups, they've operated freely in northern forests and communities. Villages have been wiped out, school children has been adopted, travelers kidnapped on highways, and farmers have been forced off their own land. And this same voice is now shouting foreign invasion and political whatever, either downplayed the crisis, justified it, or blamed victims when attacks happen in other regions. When Benue, Plateau, Southern Cardinal, Borno, they the outrage was muted or politicized. So now that Sokoto is involved, it's suddenly a national emergency. Blaming Tinubu for allowing the US to bomb the north is also not being fair, because these northerners have accused previous governments of not doing enough to tackle insecurity. Now the action, however you see it, is taken. The narrative flips to sovereignty and regional victimhood. You can't complain that the government is weak against terrorists and then cry foul when international military cooperation happens. The truth is, you can't have it both ways. So the anger towards Donald Trump is equally misplaced, because the US did not wake up one morning and randomly choose Sokoto. How did they even know that it's Sokoto? Airstrikes actually happen where intelligence points to active threats. So instead of asking only why Sokoto, the question should be, what allowed these people to operate there long enough to become targets in the first place? And that question exposes uncomfortable truths many are just avoiding. And this is just hypocrisy in how foreign intervention is viewed. When Western countries speak about protecting Christians, women, or minorities, many Northerners dismiss it as propaganda. But when those same Western forces strike armed groups in the North, it becomes an unforgivable crime. Either Nigeria is serious about defeating terrorism everywhere, or they will continue pretending that the problem doesn't exist until this bomb falls on all of them. We are not celebrating airstrikes here. It's just about calling out double standards. Not leaders and elites must stop externalizing blame and start taking responsibility for the insecurity that has turned their region into a battlefield. Because moral outreach without self-reflection is not patriotism, it's denial. And denial is exactly how the North got here in the first place. Well, what's your take on this? Do let me know what you think in the comment section. And if today is your first time joining my channel, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe.